I was hacked in Among Us. I don't trust online gaming anymore, especially the games that come with chatting features. The game Among Us gained huge popularity during the 2020 quarantine phase. My office was closed. I got bored sitting at home, hence, I started to play the multiplayer social deduction game like everyone else. You already know how this game works, so there's no need to repeat that again. The game was a nice time killer. I lived alone in my apartment, so there was no one to disturb me anyways. At first, I was playing this game on my mobile phone, but later I installed it on the PC as well. My daily routine was to wake up from bed, eat some breakfast, and then sit in front of my PC till my eyes hurt. Those who are familiar with this game already know about the anonymous chat box feature of Among Us. One day, I was playing Among Us sitting in my bedroom. Heavy rain and a thunderstorm were going on outside. The game was going well. Being the imposter, I managed to kill 4 crewmates in a 7-people team, including me. I was just 1 kill away from winning this game when a notification popped up in the chat box. I opened the chat box and saw an anonymous player had sent a YouTube link in it. I was not in a mood to get distracted, but the player kept texting. I couldn't tell if it was a girl or a boy, but the name read 007 Ken. Let's address this person as he, based on the name. Now, 007 Ken not only sent this link in the chat box, but also said that we have to subscribe to his channel. I was so indulged in this game that I didn't notice the chat box until now. This guy was texting this link from the beginning of the game, and he was telling everyone to subscribe to it. He was being really irritating. I texted back saying, "Shut up, dude. Just play the game, man." This guy replied, "Subscribe to my channel if you don't want to die." I laughed really hard after reading this. I thought he was pretending to be the imposter, but then I thought, what a dumb guy. What is the point of pretending to be the imposter? But a trick came to mind. I decided to let him give death threats in the chat box and told the other player that 007 Ken is the imposter and we should throw him out. Now, when all this was happening, out of curiosity, I opened the link into another tab. The page started to load. By this time, the game went exactly how I planned, and the third player voted against 007 Ken, and we threw him out. Eventually, I won the game. I took a sip from my cold drink cup and went to the page where I have opened the link. As the page flashed in front of my eyes, I got really disturbed. The channel was filled with torture videos, videos of killing innocent animals, post-mortem videos, and all kinds of creepy shit. I got really pissed at that guy and said to myself, "Fucking jerk." This was the moment when all my problems began. I started to receive anonymous calls and texts after an hour. Every time I answered these calls, I could hear someone breathing heavily from the other side of the phone, but no one ever spoke. One night, I was really tired after doing household chores, so I slept early. Around 1 a.m., my phone rang. I was in a deep sleep, so I missed the first call. But the phone rang again. This time, I got fucking annoyed. I picked up the phone and shouted out loud, "What's your freaking problem, dude? If you have something to say it." Past 2 days, this guy called me from the same anonymous number, but never spoke. Suddenly, this time, a man with a creepy coarse voice talked from the other side. He said, "I told you to subscribe to the channel. Seems like you didn't, huh? Don't you value your life, Jack?" I lost all sleep in just a wink. How the hell did he know my name? I had no doubt that this was the same guy from the Among Us game whose name was 007 Ken. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up like sharp needles. Drops of sweat appeared on my forehead. I asked in a scared voice, "How do you know my name?" The guy laughed hysterically and said, "What if I tell you that I am standing in front of your apartment with the sharpest kitchen knife you will ever feel on your neck? There won't be any interruption when I slice your throat. Of course, there will be a little sound when you will choke in your own blood, gushing out of your veins." I was beyond terrified this time. I don't know what to do. I jumped from my bed and ran to the main door. The door was locked. As I put my eyes on the peephole, I saw there was no one at the door. I came back to my room, rushing and moved the curtains to my bedroom window to look outside. The roads were empty. The streetlights made the area look even more spooky. I couldn't see anymore. I sat down on my bed in fear. I couldn't decide if I should call 911 or not. After all, it was just a threatening phone call. I disconnected the phone the moment this guy said those evil things to me. But then again, after 5 minutes, my phone rang. It was the same number. I didn't pick up. I put the number in the block list immediately. The night went like a horrifying dream. I couldn't sleep at all. I just sat on my bed quietly. My ears were alert the entire time. I was ready to call 911, hearing a single sound on my door or anywhere near my apartment. But nothing more happened that night. The next morning, when I opened the Among Us game screen, I was highly shocked. My chat box was filled with links to this YouTube channel. There were death threats and hacking threats all over the chat. Just when it clicked my mind. Oh my God, I was such a fool. I clicked this anonymous link without thinking. This guy probably hacked my account and got my IP address. I went to the Twitter page of Among Us and saw it was not just me, but many players have faced the same issue. Some random guy tried to promote his channel by sending the link and threatened people to hack their account if they didn't subscribe. Some even reported that after a point in time, their screen turned black and the game showed errors. I uninstalled the app for a while, thinking I will reinstall it once their support team resolves the issue. A week passed by without any more trouble, but one night I was coming home from grocery shopping. I was near my apartment, just about to enter, when I felt someone was standing behind the streetlight on my left. A shadow was moving behind it. I thought it was nothing but my imagination, so I went to my flat. I opened the lock of my door and shut it after entering. I went to the kitchen to arrange food and groceries. Suddenly, I received a phone call. It was from an unknown number again. I picked it up and said, "Hello." It was that same heavy breathing. The blood in my veins rushed to my face when someone from the other side said, "I hope you enjoy your pizza tonight," and disconnected the phone. I bought pizza on my way home for dinner. I stood in the kitchen like a statue for at least 5 to 7 minutes. My hunch was right then. Someone was actually standing behind the streetlight and watching me. This time, I didn't sleep on this matter. I called 911 and told them everything. They sent 2 cops who patrolled the entire area looking for a suspicious stranger, but obviously, they couldn't find anyone. I didn't stop there either. I changed my apartment and moved to a totally different location, very close to my office. I changed my phone, my number. I replaced all the passwords of my social media accounts. I even sold my old computer and bought a new laptop to keep myself from being hacked again. I don't blame anyone else. It was my fault that I clicked some random link while being online in a multiplayer game. I reported to the cybercrime department as well. They told me that someone indeed hacked my account the moment I clicked that link. And from there, it wasn't too hard to find my address, name, and phone number. It terrifies me to think that there are sick people around the world who are turning a simple online game into a living nightmare just to satisfy their creepy desires and spreading filth all over society. So guys, just be careful from now on. Don't make the same mistake that I did while playing Among Us. The Psycho from Among Us. I have always been a huge fan of murder mystery games. My best friend Jill introduced me to the trending game Among Us last year. I have played with college friends, cousins, and even random people. This game is fun and quite addictive too. At first we used to play in small groups, but with more time passing, Jill suggested joining big groups that include 20 to 30 players, connecting people around the world. Last month, Jill and I started to create our own groups with people we knew and also accepting people whom we didn't. We used Discord to access smooth communication. For those who are unaware of the role of Discord, let me give you a brief explanation. Using Discord to play Among Us games will help the crewmates to know who is communicating and who is muted. Discord will assist the crewmates to identify the imposters, thus reducing the confusion and chaos and avoiding the blunder of killing their own crewmates. In one word, this is a very helpful app if you enjoy online gaming with a huge number of people. Among Us gives you the scope to choose your region before starting the game, and so far, North America, Asia, and Europe region are accessible in this game. This allows people from one region to play with people from a completely different region. As Jill and I often spend our evening breaks after college together, we got addicted to this game. I started to play with random people, and it was extremely fun to play with more players. One night, Jill invited me to have a stayover at her house. We decided to watch a movie and then play Among Us until we fell asleep. After watching a movie and eating a lot of junk foods, we began our gaming night. The next day was a Sunday, so there was no rush in waking up early the next morning. After 2 to 3 rounds of gaming, Jill added me to a new group. She said this was her boyfriend's friend group, and it had around 35 people. We plugged in our headphones and started on our mission. In the first round, I was one of the imposters. There were 10 imposters in total. The game was going absolutely well. I met a guy in the game whose name was Rick. Rick and I became good friends after 5 to 7 rounds of gaming. He had some cool tricks in fooling the crewmates and luring them away from their groups so that we can take them out. It was a fun night. Since that night, whenever Jill played with her boyfriend's group, she added me. After 2 weeks of continuous gaming, everyone decided to meet up and party. The party took place at Jill's boyfriend's house, whose name was Sam. Jill and I went to Sam's place. It was a Sunday night. I met everyone from that group at his house. My eyes were searching for Ricky. I asked Jill, "Why isn't he here yet?" And she started to pull my leg, saying I had found eye candy while playing Among Us. She even told Sam about it. Sam told me that he did invite Rick, and he will be here anytime soon. After 20 minutes, I went to take a beer, and as I turned around, I saw a guy standing right beside me. At first he scared me a bit, but then he smiled at me mysteriously. I was going to avoid him just when Sam came towards me and said, "I hope you guys have finally met. Nora, this is Rick." Sam was going to introduce me, but Rick replied, "I know her. Hi, Nora. I was looking forward to meeting you." I got a bit shy with his out-front reply and started to blush. Needless to say, Rick was a very handsome guy. We walked to the poolside and sat down to talk with our drinks. I got a bit shy with his out-front reply and started to blush. Rick had a very good sense of humor. His jokes made me laugh. Being honest, I started to like him after a while. We had some more beers, and he even dropped me home on the way back. From then, we started to hang out whenever we could. Sometimes, he secretly helped me in the game without letting anyone else know. We were bonding, and it was nice being with him. One day, I left my phone in the class and went to the washroom. After coming back, I saw Jill smiling at me with my phone in her hand. So far, Rick and I didn't tell anyone about our relationship because I like to keep things slow. He wasn't my boyfriend, and I wasn't ready to be his girlfriend yet. I wanted to know him more before taking any drastic steps. Jill pinched me in the arm and said, "I didn't know you were dating Rick." I rolled my eyes at her and said, "Jill, we're not dating. We're just good friends." But rumor spreads like wildfire. After that interaction with Jill, everyone in the group started to pull our legs. Rick seemed to enjoy all this attention, while I, on the other hand, was feeling really pissed off. One Sunday afternoon, Rick asked me to go for lunch with him. We went to a nearby restaurant, and he took up the topic of people pulling our legs in Among Us chat box. I shrugged it off, saying, "Let them do what they want. People just can't accept the fact that a boy and a girl can be good friends too." Until now, I knew Rick was a fun-loving, carefree guy, but suddenly, I saw the expression on his face change. He got really angry for God knows what reason and said, "Really? That's what you think we are?" I was a bit surprised to hear such a statement and didn't know how to react. I took a pause and said, "Well, it's only been a month we have met, Rick. I accept you like I like you, but I would like us to know each other more before we take the next step." He got all irritated and spilled the cold drinks on the table. He thumped his wrist so hard on the table that a corner of it got a slight crack. I was feeling very humiliated by his disgusting behavior. I stood up and left the restaurant at that moment. After that day, Rick didn't contact me for a week, and I was definitely not going to talk to him about what he did. He didn't come to play with us this entire week, and people in the group started to ask me about him. I was already in a bad mood, hence, I said whatever came to mind. I told them that we were just friends and nothing else, and they all need to get a life of their own. After that, everyone stopped talking about me and Rick, at least in front of me. One night, I was working on a college assignment just when I received a call from Rick. As I answered the phone, he started to apologize for his behavior. I was in no mood to go through his shits again, but he was being really adamant, so I forgave him. He then said that he is throwing a party at his farmhouse this weekend. Sam and Jill are also invited there. He will be glad if I join them. I was out of excuse because I knew he would keep calling me if I didn't show up at his party. So I said, I will be there. I talked to Jill and she became happy that I agreed to go to Rick's party. We all went to Rick's party. It started out to be fun. After a long time, our group was hanging out again. We all played Among Us and drank lots and lots of beer. After a certain amount of time, I got really drunk. I was sitting on the living room porch when Rick came to me. He started to talk about how much he missed hanging out with me all this time. I was just listening to him as I had no other option than that. Rick went to bring more drinks. Just then, another friend of Sam named Mike came to me and started talking. Mike and I were talking about the game and other casual stuff. Meanwhile, Rick came back. He crushed the beer cans with his hands just by seeing me talking to Mike. Rick created a huge scene and called me a bitch for playing with his heart. I was out of words this time. Jill took my side and said that it was his fault for imagining everything inside his head because I never told him that I loved him. I was about to leave when Rick came on to me and grabbed my hand so tight that it got bruises. Everyone at the party rebuked him for his unacceptable behavior and took him away from me. I came back home with Jill. The next day, Rick went missing. Everyone looked for him, but he stopped going to college or contact his friends. I was scared, thinking, God knows what he is planning to do next. A week went away like this, and there was no sign of Rick. No one knew where his parents were, hence, they couldn't file a missing persons report without his parents' consent. One night, I was chilling in my room just when Jill called me. She told me to take a look at my Facebook profile. I immediately opened my Facebook page and saw Rick has updated his profile picture. It was a group photo taken at Sam's party. Rick has cropped the photo, which portrays me and him sitting together. The caption he gave to the picture scared me to sleep. Me and my girlfriend, whom I met playing Among Us. Hashtag, we will never be apart. I have filed a report against this creepy guy. The scariest part is that no one has a minimum idea about his background, even though he was a very jolly person. I just want to say out loud that, Rick, if you are watching this, you better stay the hell away from me. Because if you don't, next time, you will be the one getting the bruises.